And we are live and we are excited. Someone dropped off. Let me add Rhonda back to the stream. She might be having a little technical difficulty, but there she is. Welcome, ladies, to
Yes,
Bravo
yes.
with Sheila. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Give yourself a bravo just because. And you do not need permission. You don't need to ask anybody permission to give yourself a bravo. So
Okay.
take that right hand and place it on yourself and give yourself a bravo. Encourage yourself. Those of you out there, welcome to Bravo with Sheila. You know how we do it. You know I'm excited, excited, excited. I'm always excited. And we have a powerful group of women tonight to chat, to talk, to chop it up, and to share from the cup of their lives about their experience. Those of you on Facebook, welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to see everybody. And so, listen, I want to jump into just this conversation. Those of you who are just coming into the room, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and smash it and give me that thumbs up. We need the algorithm to pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. So, hit that. And if you're new to the channel and you have not subscribed, subscribe to the Bravo with Sheila and just hit that bell at the top and you'll get notification when we go live. If you want to see some Christian talk and my flow with the Lord for real, go over to SIM Broadcast Sheila Ingram Ministries, right across the street on YouTube. It's right across the street. And so, Rhonda, we're gonna bring you back up again. It's okay. And so I am so excited tonight. Hello, Princess K. We got some bravettes in the house. And let's see what they're saying to you, ladies. On this platform, we chat with the chat. Let's see. Princess K, it's so good to see you. She said, "Oh, wow, what a lovely and powerful panel. Greetings, Aunt Sheila, and many blessings to the chat family." Thank you, Princess K. We got a gentleman in the house. Oh, my goodness. We got IXL. This brother here is so wonderful. He supports the channel all the time. Good to see you. We call him the Brave Brothers. We call him the Brave. I had to give the guys a name because the girls had the Bravettes. So I had to like think the men started coming over, supporting. So I said, well, let me give the name. Let's give a name to the brother. So he's the Brave Brother. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you are here. Facebook, thank you so much. I want to just thank my dear sister, Vernell. I want to thank her. We've known each other forever, if that's a word, forever, right? Harlemite to the bone. We both come from Harlem, and she's just loved by so many people. She's community. She's just love, love, love. I don't even have to share that. I don't have each bio for each woman here because guess what? I didn't want one. I want them to tell you about themselves. Sometimes when you write things, you skip over wonderful points. And I don't want that to happen. I want to give this floor totally, totally, totally to these wonderful, wonderful women here. So let's get into it. How are you ladies doing?
Wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. Hi.
Yes.
Everybody's good?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Everybody's good. Okay, we got someone saying, we got Sandra Birthright saying, glad to be here. We are glad to have you here, mother. Let's see what we have here. We have, yes, Vernell is loved by many. Yes, she is. And I know my cousin Janice probably forgotten. I'm not going to text her because she's going to be upset. No, 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 no. I gotta be on. I gotta come on for Vernell. So let's just jump into it. Maybe I should text her real quick so she don't get angry with me. She was like, "Why you didn't? No, I'm old. Why you didn't just text me?" Cuz. But anyway, let's just introduce. Let's introduce yourselves. Let's start from. Well, I don't know how you're seeing you, but right next to Vernell. And where's your names? Let me take this. Hide this comment. There's your name. Let's start with Bridget. Bridget Broden.
Yes.
Oh, I saw that. Okay, let's talk about you for a minute, my sister. For those of you who don't know, all of these wonderful women have served or are serving. They dedicated their lives, their youth, their everything. And I commend them with trillions of bravos for doing this. And that's why I wanted to speak with them because I really, really feel so honored that you guys are on the platform. So, Bridget, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start out with telling us who you are, how long, what caused you, what prompted you to join the service. Let's start that across the board for everyone. Unmute yourself, sweetie. Unmute yourself. Bridget, you're still on mute. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
You want me to start? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Well, let's come back to Bridget when she's gonna figure out how to unmute herself. Let's jump over to Dr. Cornell Hall. Please share with us about what prompted you, a little bit about your life, your young life, your middle life, your where you are. You're still young, but how old were you when you decided to get into the service?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Vernell Hall. I actually went into the military. I went into the United States Marine Corps right after high school. The military was not my first choice. I was actually already accepted into FSU, into the nursing program, and I had no idea about the military. And once we took our ASVAB test, the military started seeking me out because of my high scores. So I was actually shocked to hear about the military, and I was like, no, I'm going to college. And they were like, you can go to college, you can see the world, you can do all of these great things
Okay.
in the military. And that was how I found out about the military. And so I talked to a number of recruiters, and I decided to go into the Marine Corps. I didn't want to go in the Navy because I couldn't swim, so that was a no. That was a
Still
definite
can.
no, and still cannot swim.
You still can't.
No, but I love my sister Vernell. She went to the Navy, so I don't have a problem with the Navy. I just cannot swim.
Okay.
Um, but as I look back over my military service, I realized that that was a great opportunity. Not only because it gave me the opportunity to serve my country, but it gave me an opportunity to see beyond my backyard. I met so many wonderful people. I had so many wonderful experiences. And before I went into the military, of course, I was already disciplined because of how my parents raised me. But
Okay.
it gave me another type of discipline to pursue my life experiences, to accept whatever challenges came before me, and to just never give up. I think if you go into the military, you get a whole different perspective about life that you might not get if you never go into the military, because they change you. Teamwork is the number one goal. You learn that you have to not only look at yourself, but you have to think about that person on your right and your left. So it
Yeah.
does it. It becomes, it's not just about you. You realize the importance of looking out for someone else's life. So I'm really thankful for that. And once I got out of the military, I still wanted to pursue a healthcare career.
Hmm.
So I went back to school because that was my number one goal. I didn't get a chance to finish school because of my service, in the military comes first. The mission is the most important thing. And so often when I was in school, I had to stop because there was some order that I had to carry out. But I
Hmm.
always wanted to finish school. So once I got out of the military, I remembered the promise that I made to myself that I was going to get my degree, and that's what I did. Of course, I got married,
Awesome.
had kids, but I finished my degree And so once I finished the first one, the rest was easy again because I had that discipline, I had that
Mm,
drive, and there was always that challenge to always accomplish your goals and to continue to, push yourself to achieve every day. So that's always been what I look for every day. What is the next challenge? How can you continually push yourself? Of course, now I'm retired, but I still want to be able to give back to my community,
mm.
to other people. And my goal has always been to help somebody less fortunate. And right now, I am working on a nonprofit that will help other veterans. So, again, my
Wow.
goal every day is to be able to give back. And of course, that led me into ministry. So, I'm a pastor,
Yes.
and
Oh, right.
however I can give back, that's always been my goal. So I'm passionate about people and helping the less fortunate, and how can I serve my country, my community, and those that are hurting and in pain.
Bravo to you. Oh my goodness. Bravo. Bravo to you. Let's bounce it back up to Miss Bridget.
If we get
Miss
Can you
Bridget.
hear me now?
Yeah, we
yes,
can we can hear you. We can hear you. Come on, just jump. Go ahead in and
Okay.
flow.
Greetings. My name is Bridget Broden. I didn't retire, but I was in the service in the Army for 6 years. I'm a Gulf War veteran. Uh,
cool.
I chose the Army because I didn't want to have to go to school because I was kind of tired of, being an honor roll because, that's what my parents expected.
Mhm.
But in hindsight, I chose the military because of the GI Bill. So
Mm.
I love the fellowship with everyone and the things that I've learned. Just like Dr. Hall said, it's teamwork. You don't forget your buddy. You always, keep your buddy covered and everything. So I enjoyed my journey because it taught me a lot because I went in right after high school. I think I
Okay.
graduated and within a couple of months, I was being shipped off. And it was hard for my parents because, well, not my parents, my dad, because he's a Gulf War vet. I mean, he's a Vietnam vet. So he didn't
Okay.
want his baby to endure what he did if he got called to war. So after the 6 years in the military, I went into banking, which I'm a banker now.
All
So I've been
right.
banking since, 93.
Okay.
I instill those same principles, in my career because we have that discipline and all that good stuff. One thing I've noticed with the previous job, I never knew I had triggers.
Mm.
So, because I'll back for a minute. When I was in the military, before you went to Saudi, we had a sergeant major that was called from Fort Meade. And he called me in his office, and it was just the two of us. And he said, Broden, I'm going to tell you something. You got 3 strikes against you. He said, one, I don't like blacks, but he didn't say blacks. And then he said, two, I don't believe that females should be in the military. He said, females are only good for one thing, and that's laying on their backs and producing children.
He said that to you? Whoa, 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 whoa,
He said
whoa.
that to me at parade rest because, I was talking to my superior. So it was just the both of us in the room. I worked in a skiff. So nobody else knew what he said to me. So even if I said something, they wouldn't know. So, and I
But
told him,
wait, hold it. Because see, I'm gonna stop when y'all talk and drop bombs and mic drops and stuff like that. Wait a minute. We don't breeze over things like that here. We kind of get into that. We get into that because I want to know emotional damage that did to you. I want to know at that moment, how did you contain yourself? I want to know what you as a person went through at that very moment when this man said that to you.
I was hurt. One, because I came in at 17. Two, to me, it was like, okay. My response to him was permission to speak, and he said yes. So I broke parade rest, and I said, so knowing the way that you feel, and we're about to go off to this war, do you expect me to cover you? And he looked at me. So, and I told him I pride myself in being from East St. Louis. I'm from the land of survival. If I survive in East St. Louis, this right here is going to be nothing.
Uh-huh.
But what he did was he had his good old boys club to start doing fictitious work. When we came back, which took me off, he tried to get me off the promotion board. And my commander was the one who told me what was going on when we came back. But I said, so if you know what's going on, why can't you help me? Then I said, oh, I get it. You're a part of the good old boys club. You want to get promoted to major. So I just went to IG, to the IG, and they did their inspection. I mean, their research and stuff.
And IG is what?
The Journal General. So that's where they do like the adjutant stuff.
Okay.
So what happened was I had a lieutenant colonel in one of the units that I was with in in Germany, to speak up for me. And he said, Broughton doesn't produce work like that. This is what Broughton produces. So they had to remove the work. But when I got to my duty station in Maryland, where I was still exercising my clearance, they already knew about me. And the civilian that I worked for already had judged me. When I came there, a girl that I was with from basic training was there. And she was like, what went on over there? She said, because they're asking a whole lot of questions about you. And I was like, nothing. And that's when I realized that everything wasn't dismissed. So what I ended up doing was getting rid of my clearance to work in the company. And I was the NCO for the mailroom and for the other company. So I felt angry. I'll put it like that, because that's why I said I realized that I have triggers. So disrespect for me is a trigger. When I feel disrespected, I have to buckle down, because if not, I go back to that place.
Wow. Now, isn't that something? And that's your trigger. And you would think leaving service wouldn't be a trigger, coming from that perspective, being your in service, right? Wow. And this is like one of the main reasons why I wanted you ladies to come on this platform to share. People can look at you and don't know, they look at you, they know your story, so they think. But that still sticks with you. That one incident, which is trauma. It was traumatizing. What happened to you? You were young. You didn't know how to process that. You came out of one place to do a good thing, got to a place you thought was a good place.
Right.
But bravo to you, because now look at you now. Bravo to you. I tell you, boy, we pushed through some things. Bravo to you. Oh, God, we're going to swing back around, because I do have more questions I want to ask you guys. So let's talk to Vernell. Bring Vernell to the forefront, and let's share about you and your beginning, and what prompted you to want to serve, and how did you segue into this life?
Well, my name is Vernell Megan, and I did 24 years in the Navy as a dental technician. And what made me go into the military, because I wanted to save my life. I grew up, born and raised in Harlem, and I didn't have a bad upbringing, but let's just say I had an upbringing that, people get kidnapped and stuff like that. So I thought the best thing, in my mind, I said, I'm going to join the military because I'm government property and nobody can bother me. And that's what I did. And I truly believe, as I'm more mature, that God has really directed my path. I mean, because I was the oldest person in boot camp, literally. I was probably their mother's, auntie's grandmother. And I was more mature. So a lot of things didn't faze me as much. But as I grew in the military with rank and academics, things started to faze me. But I think because when I was born and raised, I grew up where when Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy got killed, they wanted to torch my building and stuff because it was owned by a white person.
Right.
So I grew up in that era that you had to really be strong. So a lot of things didn't faze me, but I did experience a lot of prejudice, from higher people. Not all, because some are very good friends of mine to this day. I've been in their weddings and everything, but you just kind of have to know your place. And they have a saying in the Navy, choose your battles wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Because if nothing's going to come of you getting angry or getting yourself in trouble or anything, like that, is it really worth the fight?
Mm.
And your life can be challenging if you plan on excelling. I decided early on that I wasn't so much interested in getting promoted as much as I was interested in getting my education. And the Navy, the military, they afforded me the opportunity to get 2 master's degree, 2 bachelor's degree, and that's something I don't think I would have ever thought about doing home because I didn't come from an academically stimulating background. I think I'm the only one in my family to graduate from college ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the Navy was a good thing for me, and it was a good thing for my children. And I didn't have any stories like Bridget did. And, I'm so sorry to hear that because Bridget is like my little sister.
Yeah.
And I never knew that kind of trauma happened to her.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad to hear that. But I'm not surprised
Right.
because I've heard it,
Right.
you
Right.
know. So,
Right.
but it's been an experience, and I like if I could have did 50 years in the Navy, as long as I wasn't on the ship because I can't swim to this day, I would have did 50 years. I mean, I would have stayed because it had so many opportunities to
Mm.
offer,
Yeah.
and it's stuff that I can take to the community and mentor young women. Imari is my Navy niece, and she's really excelling in the Navy, but she listened to her mom, who is retired Navy, her stepdad, her father. So she really had some strong mentors around her.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so
That's
I,
awesome.
it was a interesting, challenging, and loving experience.
Amen. Amen. Bravo to you, my dear sweet sister. Bravo to you. Let's go to the chat. The chat is on fire. Let's just
Oh,
see.
it is? I can't
Let's
even
see.
see.
All right, Princess K say this is just incredible. I can only imagine what you all have experienced. I'm sharing this definitely. People need to hear these stories. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Princess K. Janice Wall said, love you guys. And she says, I'm so proud of you all. And Nay is the bravette that's always here. She's saying hello to Bridget and Dr. Cornell and Amari. And Nay is a sweet, sweet person that supports me on both channels. If nobody shows up, and Nay is always here. If no one shows up, I don't care if it's 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, and Nay is always in the chat, just me and her sometimes. So, and Nay, thank you so much, sweetie. So listen, let's keep it moving because you guys are really giving a lot of content to your lives, and that's why I knew, once you said, I was like, can we get more of your friends, people? Because each story is so unique in itself. Although there are different characteristics in it, it's still that you could relate on every level of serving. You can relate. And so I'm not going to jump to my questions because I want to go to now. Let's bring, and I don't want to insult you, but let's bring the baby girl Amari to the forefront and hear what she has to say. Why, as this millennium, she is in this and she's doing this. And Vernell just mentioned how, she's your auntie, yes?
Yes.
Yes. how your mom, your dad. So let's give me your mindset. Like, how did you get ushered in this 2020? I don't know what year, but how did you get pried into this in the service?
Yes, so I'm Umari. As my aunt Vernell said, my mom was in the military, my dad, my stepfather, my brother, my step siblings. I mean, just the whole military background family. Grew up around the military, grew up around the Navy specifically. Um, I was not, the Navy, by all means, was not my first option. It was not. I was determined to make it without joining the Navy just to prove a point to my mom because I just had to go against everything that she was telling me. Like, oh, it's going to be a great time. You're going to have so much fun. You'll have a career. You'll get money. I was just determined to do it without her help. That did not work, so I turned to the Navy. I went to school. I did go to school first, so I joined pretty late. I joined at 24. I was, like Mom Vernell, one of the older people in basic training, so a lot of the stuff that happened in basic, I was like, y'all are crying about this? Like, grow up. Like, come on now. I mean, it's really just a mental thing now. Like the military now is just, it's a mental thing. But, I kind of had that discipline already. And my mom was an RDC. So she did the training for people who went through boot camp. So I kind of knew what to expect going through boot camp because my mom had kind of prepped me for that. And my stepfather as well was an RDC. So they both, growing up in a household where people are used to telling, people my age or now what to do. It was a breeze going through boot camp. I already went through it. I lived through it at home. It was easy. So, like I was just so grateful going into the military, and my experience joining the Navy was actually very interesting. My mom calls me all the time telling me I'm spoiled, that I don't work, which is true. It is true. I am very spoiled. I get what I want because if I have an issue, guess who I'm calling? My mother. I call her, Mom, they're telling me this is going on and I don't want to do it. All right, well, here are your options. And it's very surreal having like so many people that I know in my life that are in the military, especially the higher ranking people like my Aunt Vernell, who was higher ranking than I was. One of my mom's mentors, who I stay with now, she's a chief in the Navy. My mom was a senior chief in the Navy. So if I have any issues at all, I'm calling one of them on speed dial. Or if I have a question because I don't understand something, I have the greatest people to contact to ask them, can you help me? And I love it even more because they're all Black women. So they can especially help me. They already know, they've been through what I have been having to go through. And being a young Black woman at that in the military, they think that I might not know anything. And I don't usually pull out my mom was in the military card because then they're like, oh, hold on now, you know something. And I'm like, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm gonna let you figure that out, see what you're going to tell me because I'm going to call her as soon as we're done talking. So my experience is really actually very, very fun. And my mom and I ended up being, so when you go through basic training, you go in these things called ships. Me and my mom were in the same one, just all these years apart. So where she was recruiting people and getting them into the Navy, I was actually where she was recruiting people, and I had no idea until like towards the end. And it was a very full circle moment, and it like really made me feel good. Like I'm doing something for myself, for my mom, for my country. Like it was just a very big, like it was just a really good feeling. I can't express that enough. Today, I've only been to 3 duty stations. I've only been in for 3 years. I joined in 2019. I'm 27 now, so I joined when I was 24. I have been to San Diego, California, which going out to California has always been a dream of mine, and the Navy has made that possible. My Aunt Vernell can tell you, like I have been dying my whole life, Mom, please, please, please. And no, she doesn't want to live out here, but I live out here. I'm living my best life. I cannot complain, and I can't thank the Navy enough. Then I've been to another place called Diego Garcia, which nobody knows where that is. My Aunt Vernell does. She's probably one of the only people that knows where that is. Diego Garcia.
Diego Garcia. Where is that?
Yes. So it is actually in the British Indian territories. It is south of Sri Lanka and south of the Maldives. It is this very super tiny island, like all of 37 miles long.
Really?
And it is maybe like 3,000 people on the island. It is very small. It is absolutely beautiful though, like white sand, blue water. You have the ocean around you, coral. You can go snorkeling. It's stunning. It was a great experience to go out there, and just to say that I was one of those few people that has actually made it out there who know where that is. I'm lucky. Like, I'm fortunate. I wouldn't have that without the Navy. And I got to go to Singapore right after, which, oh my gosh, I absolutely recommend that. I love the traveling part. I could really care less about going to work. I'm more here for the traveling. This is free traveling for me. And I get health care. Yeah, this is amazing. I love this. Like, yeah, it was all about the experience for me.
Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
My job, though, my actual job is logistics specialist. So I do a lot of working and ordering parts for the Navy, whether it be carriers or DDGs or the command that I'm at. A lot of times it is just more so like the command that I'm at. It's somebody saying, hey, I need a new chair. My chair broke. So I'm like, okay. And I just order them a new chair. That's basically what I do. Unfortunately, though, I've never been able to experience my job because I have been traveling to all these different places where my job has been done for me by civilian contractors or OGs. So when my mom calls me and she's like, oh, how was work today? I'm like, it's the same thing every day. I just show up, I go on my phone, and I go home. Like, I'm getting paid to be on my phone. I don't know how work is. I don't know. I don't actually work.
You're still serving, though. You're still doing your job. Because if I need a chair, you're the one that would bring me and order my chair. So
yes, I would.
You're still serving.
Yes. I'm not. You'll come to me. I might not put the order in, but I'll get it done. You'll get the chair. I'll make sure somebody orders it. It won't be me, though.
This is so funny.
That's what I do. That's how I am. My plan is not to necessarily stay in the military, though, as much as I do love it and I love the traveling. My experience, like with working with the coworkers, it's just, I really like to say that it's changed from what's her name? Bridget. Sorry, Bridget. I'm so sorry. Bridget's experience, I'd like to say that it's changed, but it really hasn't much from that. Me personally, I have not experienced that, but I know firsthand a bunch of females who have experienced it, as well as males that have gotten it from higher up enlisted as well, or officers. So it's a very different dynamic from when others were in. And I will say that, like, my mom's like, it's not so bad, just keep your head down. But you can't really ignore those things, especially when it's happening to people that you know. Absolutely. And you can see it affecting them. And it doesn't make it it doesn't make you feel safe going to these people to tell them, like, I feel uncomfortable because of this, and that, whatever the case may be. So unfortunately, it's not going to be a career that I'm going to stick with. I am going back to school, though, on the Navy's dime, because I do want to finish my degree. That is something that I'm doing. So they gonna use me, I'm gonna use them, I'm gonna get this degree. So I'm gonna finish school, and then I will be done with the Navy.
You gotta love her. Bravo.
Yeah, you do.
Bravo to you, Miss Amari.
Thank you.
That was good. What a light, funny, awesome moment with you. Oh my goodness. That is your experience, and I love it. I love every bit of it. There's someone else here. Hold on.
Rhonda. Oh.
Okay. Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Oh my goodness. That was such a good, I know, crying out, tears coming. Amari, you got tears coming out my eyes, and you are too much, sweetie. Listen, we're going to jump now to D. Let's hear it, D. Let's hear it.
I don't know if I can follow Amari.
I'm telling you.
Not only is she a sailor, she's a comedian too.
I see.
I don't know if I can follow her.
We got a brave brother in the chat, Harold King. Hi, Harold. He said, wonder real life stories and experiences. Thanks. You are quite welcome. I hear you. Listen, I hear you, sis. You said she a hard act to follow.
Very.
Go ahead. Go ahead and jump in.
I'll try. I'll definitely try.
Just try.
Good evening, everyone. Please do not get intimidated by my name. It is very easy to pronounce. It's Dahlia Espute Jones, otherwise known as D. And I also have another name. I ride a motorcycle, so I belong to the Buffalo Soldiers. My riding name is Precious, which was the name that I was born with. So I have, a couple of names out there. But anyway, Thank you guys for having me on this platform. I think it is very important that we tell our stories. And with that being said, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised on a small island in the Caribbean. You guys may have heard of it. And that island is Jamaica. Um, at the tender age of 3 months, I was given to my paternal grandparents, and they raised me until I was 15 years old. Right 3 days before my 15th birthday, I was snatched up by my biological mother, and there's a reason why I use that word snatched, because it is so true. I was snatched up by my biological mother after all those years. I'd only seen her like twice before that, to come and move with her to the United States. So on the 21st of December, 1979, I was on this plane by myself, flying into a foreign country, which is the United States. And that was a challenge in itself because I'd never flown before, got lost in Miami, and didn't get to my final destination of Boston until about, 18 hours later in the middle of winter. So wasn't liking it at first. I was living with my mother, her boyfriend at the time, eventually turned husband, two brothers, and one sister. Uh, During the time that I stayed with my family, then I was molested by my stepfather. And that led me into the path of going into the military because I gotten this job. I don't think it was by accident. I just think the powers of the man upstairs was moving me in that direction. I met this young lady, and she asked me if I wanted to come and work at their department store in the jewelry department. I had no idea about what I was doing, but I just needed a way of getting out of the house, to get out of, that toxic environment. So I took the job, didn't know how to drive, wasn't driving, but I was able to get to work for a couple of months. And during the time that I worked at the store, I met a young lady who was in the Army Reserve. She sounded excited, very exciting about being in the military. And she told me all these wonderful things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I went to see a recruiter. I think to date, I may have been his best and easiest recruit. And I joined the Army. 10 September 1982. I didn't get a chance to go into the military actively until December. Something happened with my paperwork. I don't remember. That's been 40 years ago, so I don't remember. But I ended up actually going into basic training 3 months later. Joining the Army was the best thing that had happened to me, even to this day, because it molded me into the woman that I am, the sister that I am, and the overall person, that I am. And I believe that's a good thing, because if it wasn't for the Army, I don't think I would be alive, today, and meeting, all the wonderful sisters and friends that I do have now. I call them my family. During the time that I was in the military, had many different jobs. I did squad leader, platoon sergeant. I'm a retired first sergeant. I did transportation and logistics for the 22 active years that I served. And I was also a Korean linguist. I was a parachutist.
Wow.
And just to name a few of the crazy and exciting, things that I did. I also got a chance to travel extensively, so I can relate to Amari, what she said about traveling. And
yes,
I still do it to this day, because Sister Vernell can tell you we were in Ghana 5 months ago, to the point where I loved it so much. I just came back from Ghana this week. But during the time that I was in the military, learned a lot, seen a lot. I deployed. to many different, contingencies, exercises. I'm a Bronze Star recipient, which I am very proud of, and a Legion of Merit recipient. I don't take any of those things for granted because some of our brothers and sisters to this day, they never came home or they were killed while serving in the military. So because of that, once I retired from the military, I became a veterans advocate. And now I am the advisor to the Orange
Wow.
County mayor, the first African American and the first female to hold that position. So I take that, and I try to do it with pride. During the time that I was in the military, I can relate to Sister Bridget. I encountered racism, prejudice, but I'll say most of the prejudice or discrimination that I encounter was from my very own African American brothers and sisters.
Wow. Yeah.
I did encounter just a little from the Caucasian American leadership that I had, because it was always a challenge because I was on special assignment. For example, I was on an assignment with Special Operations Command where I was a Korean linguist, and my first sergeant had never worked around females before. I was the only female in the company. And when it was time for us to do our parachute operations, he would actually manifest me to go jump in other companies or with other detachments. And after he did that about 3 times, I stood up and I told him that if he ever tried that again, that I was going to file, discrimination against him, because I don't think that was right. That was not the direction the United States Army was moving in. It was about, an army of one. And he had to listen. And after that, I didn't have any problems, with him any longer. But again, it was unfortunate that I was faced with discrimination from my own African Americans, because I was one of the few, in my MOSs that was promoted above the zone. And I found that, they were always challenging me. Oh, you're getting promoted because you're Jamaican or because you're a female, not because of my merit. Come on.
Skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You saw what I did. You knew what I did. You know what I was capable of doing. So I had to face that, and it bothered me for a while.
I'm sure.
So I was still able to, successfully complete my time in the military. I retired in 2004, and I live right now in Orlando, Florida, where I, like I said before, I chair the Orange County Mayor's Veterans Advisory Council. And I'm a part of several veterans organizations. I work for a company called Zeltec, and I am the program manager. Again, I'm always singled out to be the project manager for 6 different programs while I'm a glam mom, because I'm a grandmother, work full time. I'm in a doctoral program as we speak.
Oh my goodness.
And doing veteran advocacy, and I still, travel. But, it's a part of life. I get to live every day when some people are not as fortunate because cancer did. So I rise, I get to breathe. So I use the time wisely and, try to give back. I was also selected in 2015 as a veteran of influence in Orlando. And most recently, I was inducted in the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame.
Oh, my. You talking about a bravo. Look, your bravos are going on and on. Listen, and this is why I say give yourself a bravo, right?
We
have to learn to give ourselves, somebody, and it's not like we look for validation all the time for people, but a lot of times we don't say to ourselves what we deserve to ourselves. And it has nothing to do with being puffed up. It has nothing to do with that. It's a continuous encouragement because of where you started, what you had to navigate through, and where you are now and where you're still going. So you have bravo. Bravo,
Well,
bravo.
I think the thing with that, and others on here can relate. We were taught in the military to provide. I know in the Army, one of the 11 principles that we had to learn and live by is to always provide selfless service, because it's never about you, it's about the next person.
Yes,
So I really, really try to live my life by that. Never
yes.
was it that way always, but the older I get, because in 2 months I'll be 58 years old, I try to mold myself to walk right, live right.
Yeah.
Don't always get it right, but I really try. And that's one of the reasons why I think we are who we are, because we're always looking out for the next person and not just
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Selfless. It's being selfless
Yes.
and not selfish,
Yes.
right? It's about caring about, and that's what God requires us to do, right? That's why we're here, right? To serve each other, to be able to pull someone up, and I always tell people I can't take you where I haven't been,
Right.
right? What's in me, it doesn't belong to me. My experiences and what I've gone through, what I've survived through, what I've swam through and navigated through, it doesn't belong to me. I have to give it out now because someone else is in need of that same peace that I didn't have. And some people don't make it through because they're not wired a certain way, or they don't have a support mechanism in place. They don't have a group of authentic, legitimate sisters, right? The sisterhood. And we can talk about women all day long, right? Say it out of here. But when the rubber meets the road, people jump ship for all types of reasons. You go through a lot in life, whether it's through relationships with men or women. And just the fact that you ladies have dedicated your life on whatever level you have committed yourself, it's a servanthood deep inside of you. And even those of you who are not doing it now, you're giving it. I mean, I see all the places and the things, Vernell, and I see she's in Egypt, she's in Ghana, and then all of you, those of you that travel with her, I said she's orphan because she teases me about traveling all the time. Where you at now, Queen? I said, no, but where you going, Queen? Because she's here and she favors Ghana and this place, but she's a servant at heart. And that's what I love, that even though you went through this experience, and I'm sure there's some other deep things that you have walked through while you were in the service. There's a comment that I want to put up from this sister Monica Moore, but I'm going to wait because it's deep, and I'm going to wait to put that up before we jump to another segment, a part of this. I'm not going to hold you ladies too much longer. I think we're going to have to do a part two. We ain't through. We got a part two because it's just too much to chop up in one sitting. It's just too much. So let's jump. Thank you to you, D. Bravo to you. Now, my sister Rhonda. Rhonda, you stable now? Can
Yeah,
you?
I'm stable.
You
I don't
stable
know
now?
why I came in upside down, but I guess I live
But you
that
well,
way.
listen,
And I've
you
been a
upside
success
right
with
now. It's all
it.
good. Go ahead and tell us, and when you're done, we're gonna let me see if I can see this. Latasha, I said it right. Oh, hallelujah! I've been
Not if
messing
this
up
in at
names.
8 o'clock.
Okay, Rhonda, let's go.
All right. I'm Rhonda Robinson Hill, retired Sergeant First Class, United States Army. I entered the Army in 1988 as a national from that New York Army National Guard, and I was blessed to wind up at Fort Dix, New Jersey, where I had to meet some challenges there. I kind of challenged the system for change. I went in with a head full of braids,
Okay.
and I was challenged and threatened, and yeah, I had to take these braids out, or I would face being court-martialed and all. And I took the challenge. I had a sister who was educated, and she called NAACP and the EEO down there, and we straightened them out about the history of braids and the fact that braids have been around longer than the United States or the Army. So I won that fight, and I entered into service late that year because they held me over reception station for their hearing, and I met with the post commander, General Warman, who I had to prove, to him that braids could be worn under all circumstances
Wow.
and kept clean. I had to try the hat on, do all kind of things. So it was interesting to me. Um, Fortunately, my spirit is such that when I'm faced with adversity or challenges, I get motivated. and I met the
Mhm.
challenge. So I changed the dress code for a woman coming in the army, where women could wear more than two braids at a time, because they said we could only wear two, and I said my hair is not long enough to wear two braids. I'm not Pippi Longstockings or somebody. So I I showed them, and the law was changed eventually. Now it was changed at Fort Dix at that time, but they didn't publicize it.
Mm.
So later on, you saw that each post, training post, open up for braids, and so it took me into the army. But I also came in labeled as a militant. So I went in,
Oh.
with a lot of people challenging me, not just my own, but a lot of women who I thought would be happy for me were actually, coming up to me saying, making little sly remarks about me challenging the system. But I know from experience that, obedient women don't make history. That's the fact. We don't make history. I had a certain amount of discipline that I was raised with, and but I still knew right from wrong, and I knew history, and I implemented that so that women who came behind me, especially African American women who came behind me, would have the freedom to wear their hair the way that we wear our hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed in the army from 1988 into 2009. I retired in 2009. I had like more than 5 years of active duty. I traveled all over the world. I've been to Kuwait, Japan, Iraq. I was just in Afghanistan, Bosnia, Hungary, China, Thailand, and then thanks to Vernell, I went to Ghana. Hi, D. I didn't know that was you at first. Yeah, D and I have the same MOS, which is a military occupational specialty,
Uh-huh.
88 November, where we did movement control. I did movement control, logistics, as it's called in the civilian world. And I did that successfully, until I retired. When I retired, I had my master's degree. I came in with associate's degree. By the time I left the army, I had a master's degree. I began working on my doctorate degree, which I didn't finish yet.
Mm.
Um, I retired from federal service this year, and I opened my own company called Faith to Action. I have an
Mm-hmm.
LLC and a not for profit, and I do counseling services with civilians on the LLC side. And I'm trying to get my part two funded so that I can do veteran services, veterans counseling for
Mm.
veterans who don't have the insurance that would cover some people. So
Awesome.
I'm out here working hard in my retirement, and
Yeah.
the army has been good to me. I'm telling you, even in my retirement, I look at it. My military retirement is my military contribution to my retirement are the biggest, are the largest.
Mm.
The federal government, like a lot of different agencies, they nickel and dime you. But if you've served honorably and you've sustain injuries, mental or physical, the military will take care of them. You may have to fight for your benefits, but eventually they come through. And the military saved me from so much. The military was my saving grace. I went to the army because Uncle Sam wanted me, and my ex-husband didn't. And one day I
Oh.
came home and let him know. I went by the recruiter office. Uncle Sam want me. I gotta go. He didn't think I'd make it, but I made it. I grew in it. I thrived in it. I had some, as I took 2, 3 steps forward. Sometime I took another step backwards, but through God's grace and mercy, I made it through. And if you look at the, from a military perspective, I was successful in my career. I loved it. I loved it. I
Yeah.
had a great time. I don't know what they're doing in there now, but and
Mm-hmm.
then after I retired, 2009, I went back to work for Department of Defense Medical Command as a social worker overseas in South Korea, and I enjoyed that also. I love being around the military. I love the environment. It's been great for me. It took me out of my native village of Harlem, and to broaden my perspective on the world.
I like
Um,
that.
I love it. So only thing I have to say is good things. If you fighting for benefits, keep fighting, because it's a fight that we put some things in place for y'all. You just got to utilize them, but persistency will get you through. So
Yeah.
all I can say is that to the women who have served, we done a great job. We brought some beauty and style to the military. And if you
Yes.
around, just keep it moving. and open the
Yes,
door for
yes.
those sisters. And we did it without owing the government a lot of money. My loans was paid off when I walked out. We, the last one got paid off last year. Uh-huh. So it's a lot we can do. And I tell young people that don't
Yes.
have direction, or they in situations that are uncomfortable for them, or not, yielding rewards for their life, that the military is a good place to go. Yes, you're going to have to answer to somebody, but my grandmother would say, you're going to have to answer to somebody anyway. You just decide
Anyway,
who that somebody's going to be.
that's
All
real
right.
talk.
And Uncle Sam was the best sugar daddy I ever had. Thank you.
Bravo! Bravo to you, Miss Rhonda.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh, this is so good tonight. I tell you, ladies, this is it right here. I haven't even got to half the things I wanted to say. Don't look like I am. We are going to have to commit to come back maybe next month. And before you leave this platform, you got to give me a yes. I'm not going to let you off the hook with, okay, I'll be
That's
back.
right.
No, we're going to publicly get a yes. So listen, wait a minute. Let's see what some of the people in the chat is saying for you guys.
Let me see.
Janice Wall said, good job. Congratulations to all. And they're saying, bravo, bravo, sisters. And Dawn B, bravo indeed. Bravo indeed. God bless. Great job. We got folks on Facebook. Listen, and this comment here, after we talk to Latasha, and she jumps in, then I'm going to ask you maybe 2 more questions, and I'm going to let you guys go. Even though I have more than 2, that's what I'm going to. So I'm gonna have to get
disappeared again.
Yeah, Rhonda. Rhonda been like Houdini. She's been back and forth. Rhonda gone. What happened to Rhonda?
I don't
Oh my God.
She'll be back. She'll be back. So listen, let's talk to Latasha. Let me unmic yourself, Latasha.
Hello.
Look who's back,
I'm
ladies.
back. I'm back.
Rhonda.
Better late than never.
All right, Latasha, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for my tardiness.
It's
I
all
do
right.
apologize.
You are here. No need.
Been dealing with a 2-year-old earlier this week. Volunteered to watch one of my line sisters, her baby, while she had surgery. So I got beat up by a 2-year-old, John. I got beat up.
You got beat up.
I got beat up by a 2-year-old. My baby getting ready to turn 16 in December. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
Hey, man, wait, Dawn said Uncle Sam got Rhonda again. I know, right, Dawn? Oh, God, I'm sorry, Latasha. Go ahead,
Well,
sweetie.
my name is Latasha Duckworth. I served in the United States Air Force. I came in the military in 1996. My first duty station was Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. That's where I met my husband. We've been married for 24 years with 3 kids. My AFSC, which is equivalent to the MOS for the Army, was medical admin. I was 4A. The military was not my choice. I'm just going to be honest. It was not my initial choice. Mm-hmm. Being the only girl and the oldest child in my family, my dad was Army. And he was strict about everything in the household. I couldn't wear shorts above the knee. I couldn't wear tank tops. I fully covered. And he wasn't even a pastor then. He a pastor now, but he wasn't a pastor then. But I went to school to be an electrical engineer. I went to Tennessee Tech, and I passed my computer-aided drafting class and started going to frat parties, and it was a wrap. So my dad was like, you got to figure it out. If you don't want to go back to school, you need to get a job or go in the military. So I was like, okay, well, the military was the furthest from my mind. So I went and got a job. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at Quaker Oats at the factory, and I worked at Sonic as a supervisor. Well, eventually I got worn out. Them 2 jobs wasn't making it. So me and my boyfriend at the time decided we were going to do the buddy system and come in the military. Well, he was a grade under me. So I ended up going first and was waiting for him to graduate and got a Dear John letter in the mail
Hmm.
that he
Oh.
wasn't coming and he had found somebody else. So woe is me. I kept it pushing to bigger and better things. Um, when my dad took me to the recruiter, I initially went to the Army recruiter. And when they gave me the test and my results came back, they said, "Oh, you're gonna be a weapons loader." My daddy was like, "No,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm." He was like, "Not my only daughter, my oldest child." He was like, "Nope, because she's gonna be out in the field." He's like, "So we're gonna go to the Air Force recruiter." And I was like most, didn't do my research. I was like, "Daddy, I don't know nothing about no planes. I don't know why you taking me to the Air Force, because all they do is
Wow.
planes." And he was like, "No, the Air Force is a business." He was like, "They wear suits. So that's where you gonna go."
Oh,
So
wow.
went to the Air
Mm.
Force recruiter, gave them my scores, and they pulled out, it was like a deck of cards. They said, "You could do any of these things. What do you want?
Wow.
Your pick." So I chose medical. I was like, it's either going to be medical or it's going to be computers. Both of those fields are going to grow. They're never going away. So went in as medical admin. I served 11 years and 11 months to the date.
Wow.
My goal was to retire, but they tried to deploy me and my husband at the same time to a hostile fire zone, and I had twins. So the only way that I ended up getting out of that deployment was I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
So my husband went. We didn't know if he was going to make it back. There was times he would call, the phone would just drop. I was trying not to watch the news. I was getting phone calls that they were actively bombing that base. When when I tell you prayer is a strong thing. My mama
Yeah.
prayed. When she found out that I was gonna go to Iraq, she prayed. She said, "No, I'm gonna pray that you don't go." And I found out I was pregnant. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
didn't go. Fast forward, since being out, right before getting that, actually, I was finishing up my bachelor's degree, starting to work on my master's. I was like, the military is not going to hold me back with trying
Hmm.
to get out the military. I was on the dean's list on my exit out, and they was trying to tell me I was going to have to pay back my loan. And I was like, no, because I'm going to pass these classes.
Hmm.
Ended up getting my master's degree. I've been home for most part, but now that I'm back working, I'm working for the Department of the Navy as a personnelist, HR assistant. I'm doing the games for the base here. So I get
Mm.
to see the new sailors as they come in, make sure their pay is correct, make sure that their family is on board, that they're getting credit for them.
Yes.
And I've gotten so many accolades as being a low man on the total pole, as I say. I'm a GS5, and I've been in this job for 4 years, but yet I've managed to train 6 people under me.
Wow.
Now, are they paying me either for that? No,
Yeah.
but it's on my resume for my next
There
job. I'm
you go.
praying
There
for
you
the
go.
next one. But my life has been simple. I don't regret at all. I think my dad pushing me to go into the Air Force was the best decision
Yeah.
that could have ever happened for me.
Yeah.
I have so many family members that are like, "Oh, you bougie. Oh, you this, you that. You done left us. You know, you're on your high horse." No, I had somebody that cared,
Right.
somebody that wanted me to do better, to be
Exactly.
better.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not on Vernell status yet on traveling everywhere, but I'm trying to get there. I went to Okinawa,
Get your
Japan.
job at Southwest.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I've been to Okinawa, Japan. I've been to Alaska. Loved Alaska. Been to New Mexico, which is hot, hot, hot. It's hotter than Florida, y'all. New Mexico is no joke. Um, our last destination was Virginia, Hampton Roads, and it's been amazing. But I can truly attest to the rest of my battle sisters on here. the racism is real.
Mm.
My dad told me up front, he said, when you go, especially overseas, you are going to face racism. And you're probably going to face it more from your own than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not understand. I was like, well, Black people, we supposed to stick together. We're supposed to look out for each other.
Wow.
But it's so many that will stab you in the back.
Yeah.
Because they think that you're getting something that they're not getting.
So sad.
And I'm like, if for us in the Air Force, we had to test for everything. So I could be great at my job and suck at testing, and then somebody else is a great tester and they're going to make the rank.
Yeah.
So how am I getting something that you're not getting?
Amen.
So,
yeah.
I would just say for anybody that's thinking about it or considering it, do it. Do it. The minimum you're going to do is 4 years. The minimum. Do your 4, get your GI Bill, pay your way through school while you're in. If you could take some classes, let them pay that for you, and you could pocket the money so that you can get your doctorates or your masters or any certifications.
That's
but
good.
Do it. It's not gonna hurt you. I think that's the excuse that just kind of burns me up. I have 2 younger brothers, and they were like, "Oh, I don't want to go in the military because I might get shot." You could get shot coming out your front door.
That's right.
I'm like, if I'm gonna get shot and killed for something, I'd rather it be because I'm trying to make freedom for my family, freedom for my friends, my sisters and brothers. But you worried about getting shot? That's the wrong excuse.
Yeah. But like you said, it's the mentality that has been edged in a lot of our people's minds. People of color have this whole thing. They have a whole story in their mind, and they have not spoken to anyone who's been in the service. They just hear stories. They talk about race. Racism is right in the grocery store. Racism is everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. And so it's the mindset of our people. That's another reason why I wanted, you wonderful ladies to come on and to share out the cup of your lives, which we know can't happen in one setting. Notice I keep saying that.
I just want to say something, Sheila.
Go ahead and jump in.
I'm getting a lot of text messages from people. They texting me, even though I have do not disturb on, but I occasionally look. And they are so in awe with the show. I mean, they really like it. And they said they are certain that we have more stories to share, but we don't have the time. But I just want to also thank everybody for being on here. You guys are amazing. And I know you got more stories, but I just appreciate you with my dear friend Sheila. Rhonda forgot to tell you, she came all the way to Guam just for
that's right. I've been to Guam.
You forgot that.
I tell you, because it's so much bubbling up, like we're skipping over things. So maybe in a month or so we can check back in, because I don't want to hold you guys any longer. I know you're busy, and because it's just so much to touch on, right? This deep question, this deep statement, we're not going to chop it up, but this sister, and we're going to say it, and then I'll say something else, and we'll kind of tie this show. And I want to get a yes. I'm not holding you to a date. I promise you. I'm not twisting your arm, but I do want a public yes, right? Because then it's in front of witnesses. In front of witnesses.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
My suggestion, if
Around
we're going to meet
Veterans
in a month, Veterans Day.
I can't even. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Veterans Day is coming up in November.
Yes.
So, doing it around that time would have a significant tie to it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what happened when great minds come together. When powerful women are in the room, things begin to shift. So yes, that would be perfect. I'm going to get in touch with Vernell when we get this date, and that would be a perfect time. This one thing I don't want to ignore. This young woman, Monica Moore, says, "It is great to hear all of you." She said, "My problem in the Navy was men who were the same color as me threatening to," I can't say the R word publicly, but you guys know what I mean, army. You know what that means?
Yeah, and Monica was on the ship with me, so I know Monica.
Yeah, so I don't want to breeze past that, because I did want to talk about things like that, right? So
Yeah.
our
Right.
next conversation, you guys could even come with things you'd like to share. I don't have to flow. This is a chat. This is a chat. This is a chat. So yes. So I want to say thank you so very, very, very much. Oh my goodness, this can't end. We got some yeses. And so February, I can't wait. You know, I'll pick the date, a couple of dates. Vernell will be the point person to make sure your calendars can actually happen with that date. And then we'll do this again, and we'll pick up and we'll continue the stories so that we can continue to what? Bless the people.
Amen.
It's all about blessing.
It's
Mhm.
about blessing the people. Stay
That's
right there before while I close the show. Listen, all of you on Facebook, all of you on YouTube, thank you so very much for being here with me. Remember, when nothing changes, and you have
That's
to
right.
what? Keep it moving. So I'm going to close out the show. Don't want to, but gotta go.
Mhm.
Those of you that didn't hit that thumbs up, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Smash that button. Do that for me. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And we will see you in February. We'll see you in February. That's right. They promised. We did a whole public yes and amen and an amen. All right,
Mhm.
guys. See you later. Ladies, don't move.